You are life, a blossom of blessings, embodiment of wonderful mystery, legacy of human existence, captivating wonder. Carrying you is a beautiful blessing, and bringing you to this world is a bittersweet pill I don't mind swallowing. For you are life and a joy to many women and men. Yes, children are important, but should I not be in charge of the choice of when to have them, of how to have them, of why to have them, of where to have them and with whom to have them? Let pregnancy be a choice not to drop out of school, a choice to nurture my career aspirations, a choice to decide when to get pregnant. Let life bloom better as we bounce back better, as we recover stronger, rolling back teenage pregnancies, innovating ways for increased access to contraceptive methods. Let us encourage planned pregnancies, for life is much better when decided upon. Life is much better when decided upon.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. Did we not have tea? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys. I still can't hear you. Good morning. That's much better. You're very welcome to the National Youth Dialogue on Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights. The theme for this year is Youth Collaboration to Advance Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights. And we're very, very excited to have you as part of us in all your different leadership roles in the different organizations that you occupy. My name is Winnie Apio. I work with UNFPA, and I will be one of your hosts for today.
My name is Johnson Kiza from Public Health Ambassadors Uganda. I'll be co-hosting alongside Winnie. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the National Youth Dialogue on Sexual Reproductive.
We have a third host. I won't say hostess.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Hannah Bergman, and I'm a little extra host today, actually in charge of the online participants and online interaction. Sorry, yeah. So we'll be starting shortly with a little online interaction. Do we have our Zoom participants with us? Does anyone confirm if we're all connected? Perfect. Then we can.
Does this work? Okay, good. So just as a background, this National Youth Dialogue is bringing together youth leaders from across the country, from different delegations, and working with different groups of young people for them to be able to add their voice to the policy action that is happening in the country, with the aim of strengthening engagement with national youth leaders and activists in sexual reproductive health and rights, discussing youth issues, challenges, best policy options, and sustainable solutions to youth development issues, as well as strengthening the existing or creating networks of youth leaders and improving relationships between young people in order for us to advance youth in governance. Finally, for us to take action. This is, if you take anything home, this is one of the most important bits. We need to take action towards collective youth change for SRHR and share commitment on advancing SRHR. So those are some of the core objectives of this dialogue today. Your energy is draining me, so I'm going to ask Johnson to facilitate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we need to get the vibe up, like young people. So I'm going to request all of us to stand up. Yes. Please. Could you stand up? Yes. Could you stand up? Could you stand up? Could you stand up? We're going to do something very short. We need to get the vibe up, right? Okay. So, as you're up, I want you to, we're just going to do something for 1 minute. Just pair up with someone not on your table. Very fast. Pair up with someone not on your table. Very quickly, very quickly.
Please keep your masks on.
Keep your masks on. Pair up with someone not on your table. And I'm counting only 10 minutes. Only 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So, now that you have your pair, face back to back. Very fast. Fantastic. Face back to back. Okay, great. Now, if you miss something, you'll realize that you missed it. So, I want you to change something on yourself, and make sure your partner doesn't know what you changed. Change something very fast. Make sure your partner does not know what you changed. I'm counting 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are done. Now, face each other. Quickly. I'm giving you 30 seconds to talk to each other. Only one guess. Let the person tell you what they changed. I'm counting 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, great. Now, how many of you have their partners guess rightly what you changed? Only 1, 2, 3. The rest are wrong. So that is an awareness session, eh? So, as we are here and we are dialoguing on sexual and reproductive health for young people, let us network, let us be aware of each other, and let us make friends. So, I want us to be very much lively as young people, and I want to thank you for that small session, so you can take back your seats, and I'll go back to Winnie.
Or me. So I'm going to ask to get our first little slide up to start, just to see who's in the room and who's online. We want everyone to either get their computers or smartphones if you have one. If you were multiple people at your table, you're also free to share. Sorry? Can you raise your phones up? Raise your phones up. Yes. Higher. Come on, let me see your phones. Great. We have a lot of phones. So I want you to go to your browser and type in menti.com, MENTI.com. And when you're there, you should use the code 7894-8918. So menti.com, and the code is 7894-8918. Is it working for anyone? I'm just checking. Yes? And if you're there, do you see this question on your phone? Yes. So I want you to please write in what organization you are representing today so we can get a feel of who's in the room and start picking on some expectations. Okay, so while you keep on filling this in, we're going to see, we only have 20 so far. I'm going to ask Johnson to maybe pick a name from the board and ask what their expectations are for the day.
Okay, I think let me go to Boundless Minds. Who is from Boundless Minds? And people from Boundless Minds. Hey, fantastic. You look lovely. So, first of all, thank you for joining us today. So we have very many organizations here, and we are very glad that you are part of them. Would like to know, as you are coming here, what were your expectations, or what are your expectations for today?
Thank you so much. So, my expectations from this dialogue are, I expect us to have a conversation around school dropouts and why they're so rampant, and then unplanned pregnancies, regardless of age, because we all know that teenage pregnancies are now so high, and then there's also the issue of unplanned pregnancies, and then the other controversial issue of contraceptives being provided in schools. That's what I expect.
Your name?
My name is Rita Kelly.
Oh, thank you so much, Rita. So that is Rita from Boundless Minds sharing with us their expectations for today. Back to you.
Thank you. So we have 44 people with us now. I think there should be more people joining online as well. So I'm going to give it a few seconds to rise up to maybe at least 50. We do have quite a number of organizations, which is amazing and important for this dialogue to actually be fruitful and engage a large number of the youth organizations in Uganda. So maybe could be one more expectation before going into our interactive quiz that we're going to start off with.
Yes, so we had Boundless Minds sharing with us. I would like to pick on Awesome Minds Speaks.
After Awesome Minds, Uplift Slum Africa.
Yes. So Awesome Minds, where are you? Awesome Minds? Yes. Awesome Minds is here. Thank you very much for joining us. Kindly introduce yourself and share with us your expectations for today.
My name is Mukoya Sandra, and I'm here to represent Awesome Minds Speaks. One of my greatest expectations for today, I expect to learn more about sexual reproductive health and how to help the youth that are out there to how to help them to learn more about it and how to improve their health, because sexual reproductive health encompasses a lot of things that we youth face. For example, contraceptives and very many other things. So if I learn today, I learn more about it and what it involves, I can go outside there and preach and teach whatever I am going to learn today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is Rita from Awesome Minds Speaks. Uplift Slum Africa. Yes.
Thank you. My name is Joanna Atkunda from Uplift Slum Africa. My expectation today is that since we are a number of youth here that are doing very many different works in different organizations, we're able to interact better and know where exactly to put our niche when it comes to teenage pregnancy, family planning for adolescents, and understanding sexuality for young people. Thank you.
Yes, so that is Joanne from Uplift Slum Africa. Thank you so much. And those are some of the expectations shared. And we know that many of us have expectations, but we hope that everyone benefits and the expectations are realized. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Johnson, and thank you for sharing your expectations today. I'm sorry that the screen is a little small for people in the room, But we do have a wide variety of organizations with, we have Uganda Scout Associations, we have Healthier Entrepreneurs, we have Nagoro Teenage Center, we have BRAC, we have the Nile Girls Forum. It's a lot of very important diversity in youth organizations here, which we're gonna pick on. But to kind of just start off, and also using the same link you're already on, we're gonna start with a little quiz to see, just set the ground for the conversation of the day. And yes, absolutely.
For the team that's joining us online, you have not been forgotten. We know you might have some expectations, so while we may not be able to view them right now because we're using the screen, we'd like to encourage you to put them into the chat, and we'll get light of those.
And also people online, please go to menti.com and use the code, which is 7894-8918. And I'm just gonna wait for the number. We were up at 60 and now we're at 15. Get your phones back up, please, and let's get into this. While we're waiting for the screen to fill up, do we have any hands online that would like to share their expectations for the day? Nope, that's okay. We'll get back to you. So while we're waiting for people to log in and get ready for the quiz using menti.com, Winnie is going to take us through the agenda briefly to get us ready for the day.
Thank you. I still feel, Johnson, do you want to give us a catchphrase that we'll be using throughout the day? Just so we can be alive. I want to feel the world shaking. We're young people, aren't we? Aren't we?
Yes, we are young people.
Okay, we'll throw in a catchphrase a bit later in the discussion. Just looking at all the expectations that have been given, I would like to note that some of what we're going to be discussing today is going to encompass all the things that you have mentioned: school dropouts, teenage pregnancies, access to contraceptives, sexual reproductive health as a whole. So just know you are in you're in a good space for us to have these discussions, and it's very vital that we have your voices added to this discussion and actually leading this discussion. So I just want to take you briefly into the agenda so you understand what to expect for the day. We have a couple of remarks that are going to be coming in from the acting representative of UNFPA, Susan Mandong, as well as the UNICEF country representative, Mr. Munir A. Safieldin. We'll also have a keynote address that's coming in from the National Youth Council. Just to note, once again, the National Youth Council is organizing and putting this dialogue together alongside UNFPA and partners. We will have remarks coming in from the Vice Chairperson of the National Youth Council. And then we will dive deep into discussion, and this is where we want each and everyone to add their voice to this. We'll have a fireside chat that is going to discuss young people's experiences of current realities and the challenges that they face in SRHR. We'll also have a tea break, and then we will hear from the policy angle, getting a word in from the Ministry of Health as well as the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, who will come in and talk to us about key policy directions on ASRHR, as well as youth coordination as a whole. We'll then have a key discussion on how young people can take bold action collectively to advance sexual reproductive health and rights, and we will look at how youth coalitions are brought together to ensure that action around youth SRHR is committed to and is accounted for. This dialogue will end with a youth commitment session where each and every one of us will be asked what our commitment is as a young leader, as a young person. What is it? We've held the government accountable for years. We have had dialogues where we are asking the government what they're doing. During this session, during this dialogue, we want to ask, what are we doing as young people? What is our role
in bringing the change and being the change that we want to see. Yes, so we'll have a couple of poem interludes in the middle. So we'll have young people present some great entertaining poems that are aligned to the theme. And we'll also have some dance sessions, hopefully. We have an entertainer coming in as well. Azawi will be joining us within the day, so just stay alert. You won't know when she'll come in. But she will come in to also share her voice and also, be able to enliven this room. So thank you very much. Over to you, Hannah.
So we're going to do the quiz. Can everyone raise their phones? Thank you. Raise your phones back up. Let me see you're alive in your phones. Great. And get back to this page, which is menti.com, and use the same code. And we're going to start the quiz. And of course, it's a fun quiz, but it's also a little competition, so it does matter how fast you respond to the questions. And we will have a little leaderboard after each of the 5 questions just to see who in the room or online is the most knowledgeable going into this day, at least, setting a little foundation. So let's start this quiz. And the first question we're going to have is, according to Uganda National Youth Policy, what is considered youth in Uganda? You have 20 seconds to select your answer on your phone. So time's up, and let's see how you guys did. Okay, so the right answer was between, let me see if I can go back. To get the results, sorry, it's a little slow. Yes. 18 to 30 years. Good job, guys. And we're going into our second question, which is kind of also maybe a well-known number throwing around, but let's see if you can get this one fast. What is the rate of teenage pregnancy in Uganda according to the 2016 survey? I'm sorry about the internet connection being rather slow. Right now we should have the results. Yes, it is 25% according to the 2016, but we are going to discuss that if that number has risen or not since then, which many say it has. Going to the leaderboard end, let's see how we're doing. If anyone is taking off to our fast answer. Pretty close, but I think that's yes, that we have a leader in Esther. Woo!
Hey,
give the good job out.
Congratulations, Esther.
Yes.
Esther, which organization are you from? Hey, National Youth Council. Thank you for representing.
Okay, we have our third questions, which is, what's the median age of first intercourse for men according to 2016? This is maybe not as well known, so let me see if you get it.
All men, you should get this right. No fading. This is an experienced question.
Ooh, only 2 people got it right. This is going to mess up the leaderboard quite a lot, I will say.
Who are those ones?
Okay, let me see who we have in the lead now.
Emma. Where is Emma? How many Emmas do we have?
Maybe we have Emma online. Either way, that's...
It's not sure, but thank you very much. Congratulations.
Okay, so we have the next question being, what is the median age of first birth for women?
I'm hoping all of us can get that right.
Okay, we have a wide variety of answers here. It's actually interesting because both 18.3 and 19.2 and 24.4 is correct depending on who you're counting. But the median age of all women in Uganda is 19.2 years. So let's see who we have on the leaderboard here. Okay, we might still have Emma in the lead if I'm correct. Yes. Emma is holding it on. And we're going into the last question.
This is the Emma.
Ah.
Is this the Emma or the other one? I didn't claim on the previous one. Anyway, both of you, congratulations.
So we still see that Emma keeps it in the lead here with the last question. What is the most common contraceptive used by women? The most common contraceptive used by women, according to the 2016 study. Ooh, okay. We have injectables as the right answer. But I'm pretty sure that male condoms comes second, so well guessed either way. Let's see if we have Emma still in the lead or if someone took over the first place now for the last chance. Almost. Oh, but Emma won. Give it up for Emma.
Hey, congratulations, Emma.
Thank you. And to lastly just set the ground for our discussion, I would like you to once again put a word in here on what our number one challenge is in sexual reproductive health and rights. Kind of set the ground for what is the challenge we're actually tackling here today. We have teenage pregnancy, access to information, education, lack of awareness, information gaps, access, child marriage, creating awareness, ignorance, sexual health in general. But coming out clearly is that a lot of people are putting access to information and teenage pregnancy as our main challenges to be tackled here today as youth organizations and youth leaders. So with that being established jointly by us,
I'll give the word back to Winnie, and thank you for playing our little quiz. And let's get into the actual discussions of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Hannah. Round of applause for Hannah. Round of applause for Emma. We're not sure which Emma, but Emma, if you're online.
And we shall have a victory speech for Emma later.
We shall need to have an Emma equalizer. Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for engaging in this discussion and for sharing some of the challenges that you believe are necessary or are what we need to address during this discussion. We're going to dive right into discussing these issues. Right now, I'd just like to invite Ms. Chichoncho Olivia from Ministry of Health, as well as Mr. Mondo Chateka from Ministry of Gender. If you could just join us up there. So. Good morning, Mr. Mondo. Good morning, Olivia. It's such a pleasure to have you with us. Can I get the go-ahead that it's okay for them to remove their masks? Okay, since it's safe, there's no risk of infection, so yes, and there's sanitizers available for them as well. So I did not want to preempt their introduction. I'm hoping most of us know them and have had some sort of introduction or engagement with them, but just so all of us are reminded of the great role that they play, I'll just invite them to introduce themselves right before we dive into the discussions.
Winnie. Good morning, young people. My name is Olivia Chichoncho, and I work with the Ministry of Health, the Adolescent and School Health Division, which is a division that is responsible for planning, coordination, mobilizing resources for taking care of young people, especially in matters to do with their health and more to do with their sexual reproductive health, for them to live a long life and a productive life. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm called Mondo Chateka. I work as Assistant Commissioner in the Department of Youth and Children Affairs, Ministry of Gender, Labor, and Social Development. My focus is mainly on policy direction, is on technical support supervision at the local government level, is for developing guidelines, is also for setting standards in as far as service delivery is concerned to the young people in this country, and to ensure the well-being of youth and children. For youth, it's more of empowerment. For children, it's more of protection from all sorts of vices in our communities. And I'm happy to be joining you this morning in this beautiful dialogue.
Thank you so much, and the honor is also ours to have you as great voices level. Johnson will pose the first question to Ministry of Health.
Thank you so much, Winnie. As young people, we are all excited to have you here and also learn a lot from you, most especially in relation to the government's commitment as regards to adolescent sexual and reproductive health. And the first question from the young people to the Minister of Health is, would like you to share with us the key policy directions on adolescent sexual and reproductive health, including how adolescents and young people coordination is done at the Minister of Health level. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. I had prepared a PowerPoint presentation so that I'm able to give detail as you also see on the screen. So may I request that you share the presentation? Okay. Thank you very much. So what I'm going to present is partly what is proposed under the current draft on the adolescent health policy for the period 2021 to 2025. You will also realize that what is proposed there is not very much different from what we are currently doing, but there will be some additions. Next. Okay, let me control it myself. So the Ministry of Health has a vision definitely, and they would like to see a Uganda where all adolescents are empowered, they stay alive and thriving. If I may simplify this, would like to see as a sector that adolescents are able to make decisions, informed decisions that matter to their lives. They should not die when they are still adolescents, and they should keep healthy throughout their life. So that is the vision, and that is what we want to see as Ministry of Health. We have a mission definitely, and we want to improve the health and well-being of adolescents in the age category of 10 to 19, and this is both boys and girls. And the goal, we want to improve access and availability of adolescent responsive health services. You know, we have different mandates, and as Ministry of Health, we want to focus on the health services that we offer and ensure that they are responsive to the needs of the adolescents, including sexual reproductive health. So basically, the objectives, when in the previous session, which was moderated by, sorry, I've forgotten your name, you raised a number of issues, and these issues actually the same issues that we are addressing under this proposed policy. And the first one is looking at the problems in terms of accessing appropriate and accurate information. And we have an objective to increase access to appropriate health information and education for adolescent girls and boys. So this is one of the major objectives that this policy is going to achieve. And then we want to focus on the disease burden. We want to ensure that the disease risk factors and the prevalence, the diseases that already within the adolescent population are addressed through different or various both behavioral and medical interventions. And that would think that this is going to be able to address the disease burden among the adolescents. We also want to strengthen empowerment and ensure inclusion of adolescents in decision-making, programming, and service delivery at different levels of the sector. We also want to promote an enabling legal, policy, and sociocultural environment that addresses the negative social norms and harmful practices, beliefs, and norms. And this is from within our side as Ministry of Health, but of course this we have to work with the other sectors. I don't know why the headings are not showing, but we believe that once we do this, we are going to see a reduction in mortalities among adolescents, because our vision is to see that no adolescent dies. We would like to see reduced adolescent pregnancies. We want to see no STI infections, HIV, and definitely we are also looking at the COVID-19 infections, reduced vulnerability and risky health behaviors among adolescents, reduced health expenditure on curative and rehabilitative services, because we know that some of the services are very expensive, and once we prevent them, we shall be able to save some money. Increased access and use of preventive health services by adolescents, and reduced disparities, inequities among the different subpopulations of the adolescent girls and boys. Of course, looking at the nutrition status, because it has a bearing on the future outcomes of the reproductive health of adolescent mothers, rather of mothers in future. And then we want to improve health literacy and to see empowered and adolescent boys and girls that are able to make appropriate informed decisions. We also want to see an improved enabling environment, both socially and politically and legally, that enables addressing the challenges that affect adolescents. And of course, a health system generally that is responsive to the needs of adolescent boys and girls, and not forgetting the parents, the communication in terms of the health matters that affect adolescents. We want to see that improve. So our objectives are, we have 4 strategies that we have proposed to address these 4 areas. And one of the major strategies to address the issue of accessing information and ensuring that it's appropriate and effective is that Ministry of Health is going to expand health education delivery platforms and strengthen use of friendly information and education communication approaches. So this is where the investment is going to focus on, to ensure that we reach every adolescent wherever they are, in whatever context they are in. The second strategy is addressing the disease burden, and like I'd already mentioned, we are going to strengthen the health system responsiveness so that they provide quality preventive, promotive, and curative, including rehabilitative services, to address the adolescent health needs, including those in the humanitarian and emergency settings. So this is majorly focusing on the curative and the services that are provided in our health facilities. The third area is around the empowerment, and the ministry wants to see that we strengthen its capacity to ensure that the health workforce at both levels, whether at national or subnational levels, have the capacity to engage, involve, supervise, and involve young people in programming and service delivery. So this is one area we are also looking at. The last one is about information, rather about the social norms and the enabling policy environments at the different levels. So the Ministry of Health would like to strengthen social mobilization, multi-sector collaboration, research and advocacy to improve knowledge on the harmful cultural practices, to support and also to support legislation and policies against practices and social norms that affect the health and well-being of young people. And key here will also be doing research to inform policy and practice in the area of these negative cultural practices. So the policy linkages, we are definitely proposing, we are aligned to the Vision 2040. We have the National Population Policy, the NDP3, and the Sexuality Framework, and many others. We have also defined the different roles, roles of different stakeholders, definitely including Ministry of Gender, because we cannot do all this alone. We have defined roles for Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Finance, Justice, Agriculture, Local Government, Ministry of ICT, the civil society organizations, research institutions, families, the media, professional bodies, academia, and religious and cultural institutions. We have proposed coordination arrangements, and at district level, oh, sorry, there's a mistake here. But at national level, we have the Maternal and Child Health Technical Working Group, and within that working group, we have the Adolescent and School Health Technical Working Group, whose role is to advise the MCH Technical Working Group on matters of adolescent health. And these are expected to be trickled through to the authorities and the decision makers at higher levels. But also at the district level, we have the district committees on adolescent health, and these are the ones responsible offering platforms for coordination, advocacy for adolescent health. And these committees are expected to meet quarterly, but remember this is a subcommittee of the district planning committee. So it is not a structure that is outside what is already existing. And membership is expected to include other sector members and stakeholders, including young people. So thank you very much. This is what I had to share with you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for that, Olivia. We will have a round of questions coming in, so if you might have a question for her, please note it down. I would also like to note that in the room we do acknowledge persons with disabilities, so we do have a translator. Since the next presentation is not a PowerPoint, may I please call her to the front for the online team to also see. Sezi, will it be you? Okay, great. Just for introduction, this is Mr. Sezi Kisule, who will be on sign language. What's your sign name? This is his sign name. Soda. So, yes. Thank you, Sezi. Okay, thank you so much once again for that, Olivia. I want to bring in Mr. Mondo to the discussion. Olivia noted that the policy, well, one of the things that it's looking at doing is strengthening empowerment, inclusion of adolescents and young people in decision making. And for that to be possible, there needs to be some kind of, structural coordination mechanism. She explained the coordination that happens at Ministry of Health. And then I also know that at the Ministry of Gender, the National Coordination Mechanism for Youth Programs was recently launched. Taking just a note from something that was said in the document was that it takes both rain and sunshine to make a rainbow. And that was a quote that stood out to show that regardless of for example, the challenges that we are facing, we can still come together to make something beautiful, no matter what the situation is. So I'd like to ask you, Mr. Mondo, if you could just further explain to us what this youth coordination mechanism is, and very importantly, as a young person, how is it that I can be able to play actionable, something, be active or be able to play an important role in this mechanism?
Good morning, analysis, and for keeping with us, knowing where we are coming from and where we are. We believe that one of the biggest challenge in government and for any other player in ensuring that people's well-being is improved is the issue of coordination. Coordination, collaboration, networking, engagement, cooperation, dialogue. All those are very instrumental if you're going to talk about delivery of services in a quality manner. We believe that no single entity, no single organization can do it alone. If government cannot, then what about civil societies? And that's why, as government, we came up with what we call the private-public partnership law and the private-public partnership policy to facilitate collaboration, to enhance coordination, to enhance networking, dialogue, planning together, and delivering as one entity. The UN, where you work, my good friend, they are talking about delivering as one UN. You have heard them, or you have heard yourself, saying you want to deliver as one UN. And Chichoncho and Mondo are also here to say we want to deliver as one government, because we are targeting the same people. And you can only deliver as one entity if you collaborate, coordinate, and network. Organizations are not meant for solitude operations, but collaborative undertakings. Not monologue. The young people know about the monologue. We are talking about the dialogue. The dialogue is between two people. You don't operate alone. You don't do it alone. It's not you only to change the world. It takes concerted efforts of working together to make a dent in the profiles of people's well-being. Let me also quickly add that Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development with other MDAs, NGOs, civil society organizations, and with support from UNFPA, worked on a coordination mechanism for all youth-serving and youth-led organizations, youth-serving organizations. The mechanism was launched in June 2021 by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. And this coordination mechanism provides for structures at all levels, at national, district, sub-county, and now, because of the parish model, even at the parish level. That there must be coordination of all the organizations working in those areas to be able to serve the younger people through working together, networking, and sharing resources. You ask me, it was based on what? Why? And why now? The issue is that it is something that we have been planning for some time. And finally, its time came, and the launch was made. Through the concerted efforts of everybody, we realized that there was proliferation of so many CSOs, NGOs in the country. So many. And we said that without coordination of these entities, it can be disastrous. Therefore, the aim is to facilitate organizations to plan together, implement together, monitor together, deliver as one entity, and celebrate achievements together. That's the aim of the coordination. that when we are going to celebrate achievements, let's celebrate achievements together as youth-serving and youth-led organizations together with the government through the private-public partnership. And that celebration will be meaningful because then you are sure that what you have done is sustainable. That different people will do their bits and pieces. And when you add the different pieces, you get a whole. Note, no one single organization is capable of delivering everything to youth alone. And that reminds me of what some writer said. He said, and I quote, "If you want to move very fast, move alone. But if you want to go far, move together." As government, we believe in that solid partnership with the different players. But more so, we want the NGOs to constitute themselves into a coalition of sorts, led by the National Youth Council, which is a statutory body established by government to coordinate and provide unity for all the young people in the country between the ages of 18 and 30. We need to ensure that organizations like UNIT, they are up and running. We want to ensure that all these organizations we are talking about, they come together. That's where the strength lies. The strength does not lie in your individual capacities. When you bring your individual capacities together, you become stronger and more, you are able to deliver better. What are some of the things that we avoid if we coordinate? We avoid wastage of resources. We avoid duplication. We enhance learning from each other. We enhance benchmarking. But also, resources are not inelastic. Pulling resources together is more impactful than when you went with your single coins to impact on a problem like teenage pregnancy. That was mentioned here as one of the biggest challenges that we have in the country, which has been worsened by COVID-19. I was debating with my neighbor down there and noticing that before COVID, it was around 25. But after COVID, you go to some districts, it's at about 40, teenage pregnancy. And yet NDP 3 is talking about human resource base. How are we going to build a human resource base with people who have dropped out of school at P6, P7, Senior 1, Senior 2? For us to engage that Herculean task, we need to work together. Having launched the mechanism, we are now disseminating the same, but also carrying out mapping. Which organization does what, where, and what's its area of focus? We need to know the different fighters and how much ammunition they have in order to engage, in order to deploy. You will notice, colleagues, that there are places that are overserved and there are places that are underserved by civil society organizations. We want to be rational, rationalize, in that if an NGO is coming to register for the first time and it's going into an area which is oversubscribed to, we are able to say, no, kindly release him. We don't have a problem in Impigi, we have a problem in Utambala. We don't have a problem in Utambala, we have a problem in Jinja. Your resources will be better utilized in this or the other area. Of course, coordination comes with its challenges. Some people think that when you coordinate, when you collaborate, when you are networking, when you go into coalition, you lose your identity. This is not the case. In the coalitions that we are building, you come with your full identity. But also coming willing to share information and being open to each other and learning from each other. That way, we shall build formidable coalitions that will be able to turn around the lives of the young people. Let me end with a quote from Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs says, it is people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world who do. I believe that we can change the terrain of sexual reproductive health in this country. Yes, we can. I thank you.
Thank you ever so much, Mr. Mondo, for that. Just as you have noted, when we plan together, we achieve together, and we're able to celebrate together. All these different SRHR issues that we have lighted or have been highlighted are really life issues, so they cut across, no matter what your area of focus is as an organization. SRHR is important to you. And so we hope that, as we continue to promote coordination, and like Mr. Mondo has assured us, there's still security in the preservation of your identity. But we all need to come together to solve the puzzle of the SRHR issues, and then also, very importantly, teenage pregnancy. So thank you so much to both Olivia and Mr. Mondo. I would like to now pass the mic on to the audience, both online and here with us. If anyone has a question, please shoot up your hand. Yes, there's one there. I just want to see 3 hands go up, and then we will give you the mic. Anyone else? Is there anyone online? Okay, yes, please. Please introduce yourself, your organization, your question, and who it's directed to.
Thank you so much. Yes, Sembata Bernard from VINASEF Uganda, an organization that is reaching out to key populations as well as other marginalized young people. Well, I thank you so much, Olivia, for the great job you're doing in reaching out to young people, especially with this draft policy. It's a very good one. However, I'm concerned when it comes to, as I refer to the last speaker, quote that we need to move together if you want to reach very far. Young people, for many times, have not been involved into monitoring and evaluation of their programs. And yet, there is nothing for young people without young people. I believe it is very important, as you mentioned, that you involve them in service delivery, as well as programming. It would be very key if the policy also talks about the monitoring and evaluation of their programs and services if they are available. Because you come to realize that Minister of Health has done a lot. Actually, you're doing a lot, Minister of Health. We really applaud you for the great job done, especially in facilities. But we come to realize that we have unmet needs for the young people. And there's no way you can identify them when you have not taken them on ground to do the evaluation, whether what you've brought for them, it suits them, or they need it, or they don't need it. And you come to realize that resources at times are wasted because the minister may buy or procure things that are not for them. Then when it comes to Commissioner, Mr. Chateka, I would love to really be enlightened more on the sustainability of young people in access to health services, because many times young people are facing challenges, as you may be aware of the COVID, as you've said, COVID impact on young persons today. They are beggars. It has greatly hit us to the ground when it comes to young people. And the outcomes now are unbelievable of the teenage pregnancies. And to those out of school and those in school, we don't know whether they are going back to school, those who are in school, and even those out of school. Some are being forced into marriages, and even those who are being forced into marriages, we don't know what they are going to do. Is there any plan that is in stock under Minister of Gender to see that there is sustainability into the program in access to sexual reproductive health when it comes to livelihood programming? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those questions, Bernard. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, Winnie. We'll have a question from SAD, also representing persons with disability from Srhr, Uganda. Yes.
Good morning. I'm called Sad. Well, and I'm from Srhr, Uganda, and at the same time, a youth leader. And you find there is always a challenge when it comes to inclusion of young people living with disability, most especially when it comes to information, sharing and disseminating. So how are we going to work closely with young people living with disability so that we make sexual reproductive health and rights information available for them, and let alone make service delivery easy for them? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sad, for that. Do we have a question online? Hannah, do we have a question online? Okay, for the online team, please feel free to utilize the chat as well. I'll take one more question from the room.
Yes.
Please introduce yourself and your organization.
My name is Rita Kelly from Boundless Minds. We're a work readiness organization. My questions go to Olivia. About the strategies that you mentioned, I'd like for you to clarify, but then also let us know whether there is evidence that those strategies have worked. But then also, have you considered benchmarking on policies or policy strategies from, say, other countries or other entities that have worked? And then do you also, before you come up with your strategies in the policy that you talked about, do you like get time to go through the reports that are published? Because I feel like those reports, they usually they present a lot of evidence and concerns, but then also solutions which could be adopted. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Rita. Back to you, Winnie.
Thank you so much. I think those are enough questions for the first round. Over to you, panelists. We can start with Olivia.
Thank you very much. I would like to start with Bernard from VINASAFE. Thank you for the compliments. Yes, the Ministry of Health is working very hard to ensure that every adolescent, boy or girl, is able to access services they need. Yes, for the marginalized, our policy is really looking at the adolescents who are marginalized and ensuring that they are taken care of. And this is also done through the reorientation of the health service providers. Yes, I take note of your concern in terms of involving young people in monitoring and evaluation. That is very important, and we shall take this and ensure that this is taken care of, and we shall have activities within that line. Then there was this, I want to comment on the area of the people living with disabilities. This one is already, has been recognized that it is very important that we take care of this so that we don't leave anyone behind. And like I've already said, for us as Ministry of Health, the health workers are being oriented in ensuring that they are disability sensitive in the way they communicate, but also in the design of the health facilities and engagement and mobilization strategies. So this is very key, and we are cognizant of this. And then going back to Rita, Rita's question, thank you for the comments that you have raised. Yes, the Ministry of Health maybe I didn't go through the guiding principles in terms of our policy development, but whatever we propose has to be evidence-based. And before we even dived into the development of these policies, we had to do consultations, we had to do research, we had to do desk reviews and ensure that the issues that are being tackled are the issues that really need to be addressed, but also the proposed interventions, how effective are they, but also looking at the feasibility of implementing these strategies, looking at the different costs, looking at the implementation arrangements, and ease of implementation. All these are very important, and we have taken care of ensuring that what is proposed should be effective. So this takes care of also the reports, published reports, or evidence-based interventions that are recommended in research reports, but also not forgetting that we also receive guidance from the World Health Organization, and Uganda, of course, adopted what has been seen to work, but also domesticating this to the Ugandan context. And and we still, I would say that some of the others are innovations, and we want to continue learning and innovating to make sure that we serve the adolescents and give them the services they require in the most appropriate manner. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Over to you, Mr. Mondo.
Thank you very much, audience, for the questions. Let me say this, that the government of Uganda believes in the asset-based approach to youth programming. We don't look at young people as targets to be met, but we look at young people as solutions to the problems they face. And one of the countries in Africa and in the world that may not need lectures about youth involvement, I think it is the country called Uganda. Because we have gone a long way in ensuring that at every level there is youth inclusion, there is youth participation, and that the voices of the young people are being listened to, and that their voices matter. You look at the structures that we have: National Youth Council, local government, at every level there is a secretary for youth at the local government institutions, go to Parliament, the seat of legislation. When we first came up with the proposal of having young people represented in Parliament, some countries say the NRM government has run out of ideas. How do you bring young, untrained, experienced people into legislature? What are they going to do there? Parliament is not for people to grow. But we told them that, you see, you cannot learn how to drive unless you are sat behind the steering wheel and start the car. That's how you learn. And so our example has yielded fruits. We have young people who have gone through the youth councils who are at the highest levels of government. We had one of the young men who was the second chairman of the National Youth Council, Right Honorable Dan Kidega, becoming the Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly. That's high. We have young people who were part of the youth councils at the helm of the NRM party organization drive. We have Tadwong, we have Namayanja. These are products of the youth council. We have young men who are products of the youth council who are now ministers. Honorable Dennis Obua for sports is one, Honorable Gwang Peter for economic monitoring. And when you go to the lower councils, we have many of them as LC5 chairpersons. We have many of them as speakers of those different local governments, others Secretary for Defense, different. And so this nursery bed called the National Youth Council, that's how I refer to it. To me, it has yielded fruits. All we need is to strengthen it and be an example to the rest of the young people that younger men and women are called upon to serve their nation, to shape the nation, and that's their duty. And that the world does not owe them anything. If anything, they owe a lot to the world, because the world was here before they were born. The last one, my friend talked about sustainability of young people in view of diseases. Chichoncho should have told you that one of the things we have been struggling with is ensuring that there is a national health insurance scheme. This has not yet gone through. Chichoncho, maybe you'll be pouring more flood of light on that one, but we believe that time has come when we need a national insurance health scheme for everybody, because the disease burden is breaking down people. People are dying before their time because they may not afford, medication of even some minor illnesses. But also we are saying that we need to preach as much as possible prevention, because many of the things that kill people in Uganda are preventable. We are saying, can we prevent malaria, for instance? Can we stop, diarrhea, stop these small things that are killing people? You talked also about, I don't know exactly what you meant, but I heard you about the number of teenage pregnancies that has escalated, and perhaps what we have in government in mind. Yes, we are cognizant of the fact that, and let me state this very calmly, we are cognizant of the fact that the COVID pandemic has proved that we don't have adequate parents in this country. Because for the period of children have been in the hands of their parents, that's when a lot of pregnancies has taken place. Meaning that the parents are not parenting. They are not protecting their children. The numbers have not been that high when they have been at school. So why this? And so we are saying, all those that got pregnant, let them produce their babies, but be given a second chance. Go back to school. Those who don't want to go back to regular schools, we enlist them for BTVET, for vocational training. They learn a skill, and they are able to go, do something, earn a living, look after their children, and prepare for marriage. But that's the last resort. Our first is that they should be encouraged and supported to go back to school. Last one, from Richard Hand, we try as much as possible through our inclusive policy on people with disability to ensure that in everything that we do, they participate. But also we are working with structural engineers to ensure that every building has accessibility for people with disabilities. We are also trying as much as possible to translate the various policies, guidelines into Braille. It is costly, but then that's what governments are. So we are doing that. Then somebody can ask, what are some of the policies in offing? One of them is what my colleague talked about. The adolescent health policy is in offing. It's being finalized. The National Youth Service Scheme, a scheme to work on the mindset of young people in this country, is being considered by cabinet for approval. That everybody in the future will have to be conscripted into a National Youth Service Scheme. A National Action Plan on Youth Employment, as one of the ways to fight poverty, is in the offing. Sexuality education for out-of-school framework is being finalized by means of gender, working with other ministries, departments, and agencies. Chichoncho must have told you that in 2018, we had the sexuality education framework for the in-school. Ministry of Gender is responsible for the out-of-school. So we are trying to come up with that sexuality education framework for the out-of-school. A family policy is also in offing. Education health policy is in offing. We are reviewing the National Youth Policy, and we're also reviewing the National Youth Council Act 1993. All these, once finalized, I think we should have a very powerful legal and policy framework to anchor every intervention that we need to serve the young people of Uganda. I thank you.
Thank you to our panelists for responding to those questions. We shall be closing the panel shortly, but we do have a number of questions online, and we will engage the panelists to directly respond to them on the Zoom call.
Do you have space for one more question?
Yes, but we are going to have to take it from the online audience. Yes.
Yeah.
So we have two very short questions for Ministry of Health. Okay, we'll do one. And that is from Dennis from IntraHealth International. The experience from most of our health facilities upcountry shows that most of them do not have adequate space to support youth-friendly services. How best can we support youth access to information at the underserved communities?
Olivia, that's...
So the question is that there's not enough space in the health facilities to offer youth-friendly services.
The lower level health facilities.
Okay, yeah. So we know that, yes, that is a very big problem, especially when it comes to health center 3s and below. But we are proposing that we will have most of the health workers at all health facilities oriented to ensure that they provide adolescent-friendly information and health services. And we shall be proposing also that probably the higher service delivery points, that is hospitals and, mainly hospitals, which have adequate space, they could offer spaces where young people can be seen in one service delivery point, but also not forgetting that everyone in the health facility, right from the gate, is supposed to be oriented to ensure that they are responsive to the needs of young people. But that issue is taken care of, and we continue to work on it and ensure that there is always adequate and the facilities are friendly enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Olivia. Thank you so much to each and every young person who has participated in this session. I do hope that we are going home with some more information on the policy direction that our government is taking for change in advancing youth sexual reproductive health and rights. We do have an audience of young people who are joining us over TV. And at this point, we have to say goodbye to them. But once again, I would like to remind you that this dialogue is giving us an opportunity to discuss on issues that are affecting us as young people and as adolescents. So please keep the momentum going. Please, the discussion is still going on our social media pages. The hashtag is Health for YP Matters. That's hashtag Health for YP Matters. So please share your thoughts on that online. So we'd like to say goodbye to the TV audience and continue with our online audience as well as our physical audience here. Just as this panel ends, I would like us to give an explosive round of applause to our wonderful panels for leading us in this discussion. That is not explosive. Much louder than that, please. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Mon. Thank you so much, Olivia. You can take your seats now. And as they take their seats, we will have a 10-minute, maximum 10-minute tea break. Tea is being served at the back, so please just grab yourself a bite and come back as we continue the exciting discussion. Thanks a lot. A round of applause for me as well. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please just congregate back? You can bring your cup of tea to your table as we resume with our program. We have an exciting poet in the house. I'm not sure where she or he is. Johnson? Okay, while we're waiting for our poet to come and entertain us, I would also like to remind you that we do have a photo booth at the back. If you would like to take some photos, post on your Instagram stories, post on your Twitter spaces, please go to the back and take a couple of pictures. We have some photo booth props for you. Over to Johnson to invite the poet as we wrap up our tea.
Patricia, would you be forward? Ladies and gentlemen, well, as we are having tea, we are doing a session. We're going to have a poetry performance from one of the young girls. And as we are deliberating the efforts to increase access of HR information services for young people, we know that girls, adolescent girls and young women are huge stakeholders in this. And right now we're going to enjoy this poetry performance titled What Girls Want. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Patricia Peace giving us this performance. Enjoy.
two hashtags on the social media have done some good. We like to pretend that the little affirmative actions have equalized grounds, but 1.5 points will not give courage to that girl in the village. 1.5 points will not reduce the rate of teenage pregnancy. 1.5 points will not protect me from being branded too rude when I say yes and being branded too uptight when I say no. So this is what we are going to do. We're going to tear down the stage of oppression, build our own, serve ourselves first, because these conversations must be had. Absolutely anything to keep our girls safe. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate Peace Patricia once again for that interesting poetry performance titled What Girls Want. So I hope all of us, both ladies and gentlemen, we've learned from that poem what girls want. So let's be the right gatekeepers to the needs of the girls. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me invite and welcome back Winnie to take us into the next session.
Thank you so much, Johnson, and thank you so much for that wonderful and beautiful and creative piece, Patricia. At this point, I would like to welcome Ms. Batula Abdi to welcome and invite the next speakers.
Good morning. I don't feel the energy. Where you just took. Yay. You know, many years ago, I was a youth program officer. Many years ago. And I used to have young people around me. I want to feel that energy. Good morning. Yes. So I think, thank you very much, and thank you, Patricia. I think Patricia has given us a good space to think, because she has wrapped up in her beautiful poem the vulnerabilities, the multiple vulnerabilities of young people, especially girls in Uganda, in terms of what they face every day. She has said it so beautifully, and thank you very much, Patricia, and thank you very much, all of you. My task is very brief and short. I will be inviting our senior colleagues, my representative, Mrs. Suzanne Madong, and also after that, Mr. Munir, who is the representative for UNICEF, to say a few words. You know, when we talk about youth-adult participation, someone said a very beautiful quote this morning. It takes rain and sunshine to make a rainbow. And it makes good adult-youth partnership to make a difference. You know, most of us here are not young. We are much older than you. You have the energy. You have the innovation. You have the ideas. But just also remember, we've been young. During our time, there was no Twitter, there was no Snapchat, but we communicated and we felt what you are feeling today, the energy and everything around that. And also, it is maybe the technological world that has changed, but young people have something in common. When we were your age, our biochemistry was behaving the same. Just remember that what we bring is also, as our years add up, we are a little wiser. And with that combination, it will make something great. Without further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Suzanne Madong, UNFPA representative, to say her statement, and then after that, we'll have Mr. Munir from UNICEF. Thank you.
Hello? As Batula was saying, I don't feel you guys. I mean, you are young people, right? So we should be able to get that energy in the room. You just had coffee, you just had tea, right? Tea, but still. Could we feel that energy, please? Yeah? Could we? Yeah, they say it warms you up a little bit. You know, I know I have remarks here. Thank you very much. But let me tell you, let me start by saying something that my dad used to say. He said, when a house is burning in a village, it's everybody that comes to the rescue. When a house is burning, it's not just one person or two. Really, the whole village will come to the rescue. When we are talking about teenager pregnancy in Uganda, specifically today, is how I want to ask a question, and then thanks to Patricia, is how house, do we have a house burning? I'm not hearing you. Yes? We have a house burning, right? And this is why we are also here, right? And I did not come here alone. I came here with my brother. He's the he is the UNICEF representative. So we are all here to ensure that this house, which is burning, right, that we girls who are pregnant or just had their babies, that we heard them. We saw them crying, and this is why we are here. We have come to the rescue. They are not alone. So thanks again for that, that poem that we just heard. Now, let me get to my remarks. First, to tell you how honored, how privileged I am to be here with you this morning. So, our ministry officials, colleagues of the United Nations, but specifically my brother from UNICEF, youth leaders, young people, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. On behalf of UNFPA, the United Nations Population Fund, I'm truly pleased to participate in this National Youth Dialogue on Sexual, Reproductive Health and Rights under the theme, Youth Collaboration to Advance Sexual and Reproductive Health Agenda. It's not just one young person, it's the whole coalition. This dialogue comes at a critical time in our country when we see more challenges to the sexual and reproductive health and rights of young people, including rising rates of teenager pregnancy and child marriage, coupled with diminished access to services and information. The last 2 years, as we all know, have taken a huge toll on Uganda's young people. In particular, the COVID-19 pandemic has created a crisis within a crisis for adolescent girls, as seen by the sharp increase in the number of girls who have become pregnant during the COVID-19 lockdowns. The DHIS2 data for the first half of 2021 shows that 52% of the maternal deliveries were recorded among the young people less than 25 years of age. Additionally, 22% of all abortion cases reported during the same period were among the adolescents aged 10 to 19 years. The latest national annual maternal and perinatal death surveillance and response report indicates that 4 out of 10 maternal deaths reported last financial year were among the young people less than 25 years. The COVID-19 pandemic has also resulted in closure of schools. Ugandan school children have gone more than 300 days out of school since March 2020. As a result, girls have been deprived of the social protection that school offers and have been exposed to sexual violence and abuse, child marriages, and teenager pregnancies. But while we acknowledge the immense challenges that COVID-19 has brought, it will not affect our results. The proof we are here this morning to reflect collectively, to see what is that we could do for our girls. Because babies having babies is not right. For UNFPA and for UNICEF, my colleague here, and our partners, whatever the context, whether COVID-19 or any other crisis, our focus remains on protecting young people by upholding their sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. We are therefore working with the government of Uganda and partners to stem the gross effects brought about by the pandemic through increased innovation around alternative means of education, development of guidelines for the continuity of healthcare services, and strengthening of community structures to offer information to young people. We also firmly believe in the potential of young people themselves to help identify solutions to the challenges we are faced with. The International Conference on Population and Development and its program of action calls upon governments to promote meaningful youth engagement and participation as a cornerstone of development. Being a young nation with over 75% of population under the age of 30, youth must be at the center of finding the solutions to these prevalent sexual and reproductive health and rights problems. And then when we are talking about youth, it's just those numbers. Those numbers, behind those numbers, are you. You are the young people of Uganda. So you, our young people, you are the shapers of Uganda's future. And my question to you is, what kind of future do you want for your country? What kind of future do you envisage for these babies having babies? Where do we place them? Have we failed them? What are we doing with them moving forward? The value of youth innovation and resilience must not be underestimated. A key lesson that we have learned from UNFPA from this pandemic is that when you support young people to lead, everyone, and I mean everyone, wins. During this pandemic, we have seen how youth-led innovation, such as the SafePal app and Smart Bag for Girls and Safe Border eShop, have enabled us to continue offering sexual and reproductive health information and services in the face of limited access. If the right investments are made to enable all young people to explore their possibilities and fulfill their potential, young people have the potential to drive this country's socio-economic development. Today's dialogue offers a platform for you, the young people of Uganda, to congregate, deliberate, and commit to key actions and steps that we can take together to effect lasting change in the country and catch up with the country's 2040 development goals for health, wealth, and overall well-being of Ugandans. Young people, your talents, your hopes, and your unique perspectives are at the center of sustainable development. We look forward to learning from you about what else we can do with you and how we can collaborate to strengthen our efforts and plant the seeds for new commitments that will lead to change, a sustainable change. As I conclude, I would like to share a quote by Nobel Prize laureate Kailash Satyarthi, who said, and I quote, "The power of youth is the commonwealth for the entire world. No segment in society can match the power, idealism, enthusiasm, and courage of young people," unquote. So on behalf of UNICEF and UNFPA here today, I would like to reiterate our commitment to continue to harness, prioritize, and grow youth potential as we continue to support the government of Uganda, people of Uganda, and youth leaders on your development journey to attain prosperity for all. But please, let's protect the girls. Let's protect the nation. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Susan, for I think they wrapped up most of the issues that we discussed earlier with the young people. Now I would like to take this opportunity to invite Mr. Munir Salfuddin, the UNICEF representative, to say a few words and greet the young people as well. Welcome, Munir.
Great. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be among you today. I don't have any formal speech. I was invited by my sister, Suzanne, to come and join you and meet you. And the whole purpose of being here is to meet you and get inspired by you and by the energy you have and by the smart ideas you always are able to come up with. And let me start saying how much I admire the young people of your generation. I was young myself more than probably 50 years ago. But I don't think we had the level of energy, engagement, and again, the courage of leading change. We have been talking for decades about climate change, about the need to take serious and immediate action to serve the world from the very worrying climatic change that has been happening in front of us. Leaders have been meeting once after once and again, and no real actions have been happening. But we have seen over the last almost 2 years, young people mobilize themselves around the globe. And now they are the leaders of climate change. They are putting the pressure the political leaders of the world needed to have to take bold decisions. So thank you very much for doing that. I don't think this would have been possible without people like yourselves, well-informed, but very engaged and not willing to sit back and see someone else acting on their behalf. I come from Sudan, and the Sudanese people lived in Khartoum and all parts of the country for over 30 years under a very oppressive regime. And people of my age started waving their hands in the air and saying, only God can take these people away. And all of a sudden, young people of your age and even younger took it up on themselves that enough is enough and we need change. We need freedom, we need justice. And very peacefully, without the bullets, despite the bullets, despite the sticks that were used to beat them day and night, and even killing and slaughtering them and tying their hands and legs and throwing them alive in the water of the River Nile, they made the change. And it's not only in Sudan. You may have heard about Rabi al-Arabi, the spring, the Arab Spring. Change happened in one country after the other in very peaceful way by young people like yourselves. And unfortunately, people who didn't like that change, people of my age, I'm sorry to say, they did everything to apport, to change the peaceful, the wonderful change these people have made. And yet, they have not given up. They keep pressing and pushing peacefully for the change they want. And I want to see you always, as young people around the globe, keeping this positive spirit that nothing can push you back in a situation where you don't take your life in your hands. I'm not talking in a political context here, but I'm talking about issues related today to your sexual reproductive health and rights. You need to take the matter in your hand. And let me say a few things why you need to take the matter in your hand today. We are talking about young people, youth leadership. Youth is about age. Your age is not constant. It will keep changing every day. Today you are young. Yesterday you are babies. Tomorrow you won't be young. Don't miss the opportunity of making the change, the sustainable change you want to make with regard to sexual and reproductive health and rights. And let me start throwing a question before I continue. I want just a few of you, please, to volunteer and share with us. From whom did you first learn or had a discussion with regard to your body as a woman or as a man, as a girl or as a boy? With whom did you have that discussion? If you had that discussion with your mom, please put up your hand. With your mom. Great. If you had that first discussion about your body, about your sexual reproductive function in life from your father, please put up your hand. Yeah. There were 4 people who talked or heard from this from their moms. And now no one heard it from his or her father. Let me ask you another question. Who was able to have this first discussion with his or her teacher in the school? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, who did have that first conversation with a friend, a peer, someone of your age? Great, you see? This is the power of peer education. Thank you for that. You are already doing the right thing. Now, let me ask a last question. Who relied on the internet to learn more about and reproductive health about his or her body? Who relied and maybe continue to rely on the internet for that information? Okay, I see more hands coming up. Now, this is not a good situation. It's not a good situation that you don't feel at home you can have such kind of conversation. At home, we need to learn about these issues. We need relationship within the house with our parents, with our fathers, with our mothers. And we need relationship with our teachers. And we need to have that among you as peers, as young people. And that is in your hands today. It is in your hands today to educate each other. And when I say educate each other, I'm not talking about educating each other in this room. The teenage pregnancy crisis Suzanne spoke about most probably is not happening in this room, I hope, but it is happening far away in remote areas among girls who do not have the privilege many of you have. Girls who don't have someone to educate them. Girls who have not been empowered to say, no, my body is my own. You can't touch me. You need to teach them. You need to empower them. We can have so many TV programs. We can have so many radio. We can have so many booklets. 90%, these girls will never access these TV programs, radio programs, or these pamphlets. But you can go out and reach out to them. Take it on your own that you are the agents of change. The change we need to see today by protecting young people from unsafe sex, from unwanted pregnancies, from sexually transmitted illnesses, from child marriage. All of these things are in your hand more than they are in the hands of UNFPA, UNICEF, my friend Mondo from the Ministry of Gender, or Ms. Olivia from the Ministry of Health. We are here to support you, but you are the agents of change. So my last question, are you really willing to act as the agents of change and take the message beyond this room to the poor girls and boys who never had the opportunity to sit like we are doing today? Only 2 people are answering. Now, I want a real yes. This is not a good yes only. Yes. And I want to confirm and assure you of one thing. The Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Health, UNFPA, and UNICEF are here to support you in that mission. And all the development partners who have their logos, who are present here, who have been generously funding and supporting all of this, are here to support you. So the faster you run, the faster we try to run to catch up with you. If you sit down and act and not act, it's going to be the same shame we have lived with for you to live with when you are old. And I hope you will not allow that to happen to you. Thank you very much.
Can we please have another round of applause for both the representative from UNFPA as well as from UNICEF? Thank you so much for those wonderful remarks. Key take-homes are on the power channels and just the fact that it is our responsibility to be agents of change, and the older adolescents are just there to support us, right? Yes, so thank you so much for that. Now, we will be going into another session for key remarks, but before that, both the speakers have mentioned that the room is a bit, not as young as it should be. So we're going to have a bit of, the conventional competition between the older adolescents and the younger people. I'll let Johnson lead that, but I would like to call from the older adolescents, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Health, UNFPA in the house. Please raise your hand, UNFPA. UNFPA, okay, please come to the front. MOH, please come. Mr. Mondo, we shall excuse you. But yes, please come to the front. Ministry of Health, UNFPA, UNICEF. And then we would like to have some young people who are willing to challenge them. I will let you know what the competition is.
Let's have young people. Let's have representatives from each organization. One. Young people, very fast. Young people.
Okay, the first 6 organizations that make it here, because we have to maintain social distancing as well.
And therefore, our action must now focus on how to achieve zero teenage pregnancy, zero gender-based violence, zero school dropouts due to SRHR-related reasons, of how to have better livelihoods for the youth of the country, and self-denial among the young, vibrant population. So this is our big agenda as the young people of the country, leaders of the young people of the country. As the 6th Executive Committee of the National Youth Council, under our chairperson, Mr. Ayeri Jacob, we have adopted a strategic investment plan that clearly highlights our belief in the need to act on these matters. What the young people now ask of us is not our paperwork. We are tired of talking, they're actually tired of our words. It is time for our tangible, visible, and resolute actions. Let us now act. We hope every day that our efforts to work together on these common challenges with partners, like many of you sitting in this room, are met with the genuineness of our cause and are measured based on the record of our endeavors since we came into office. We have tried to come up to some of you to discuss more of these, and like all of you know. So our efforts as the National Youth Council have been intentional to challenge ourselves to action. The youth are tired of us speaking, they are tired of us writing papers. All they want is action now. We use our mandate and reach with the National Youth Members of Parliament to approach all spaces and make our position clear and our follow-ups aggressive. To all those that you have met, you see that whenever we try to reach out to you, we try to follow up, like you all know. So to that end, we believe we must achieve critical policy requirements in our team, like the school health policy, the review of the National Youth Policy, the sexuality education framework, and many others as they come in. I therefore hope that this national dialogue represents our collective stand on the issues we shall not give up on, and also provides the much needed message to all actors everywhere in this country that our country can and must move forward on these issues. While for some people with easy access to all necessities in our country, this may not be an immediate question. For countless other young people in Uganda, issues of their sexual relationship, reproductive health and rights are issues daring with their existence. As one of the youngest nations, Uganda, we simply must dare ourselves more and act without reservation on the issues of SRHR. The COVID
period has already shown us that there is need. We have really talked this. A lot has been put on record, but now all the young people need is action. And you and I have a role to play. Our country can achieve so much going forward, only if we work together as a team. I thank you all and look forward to our combined, committed, and united effort for the young people of Uganda. I remain Nancha Esther for God and my country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Nancha Esther from the National Youth Council. I would like to remind everyone that both online and here that we are running a hashtag that you can be a part of. It's hashtag Health for YP Matters. We are also streaming live on all our social media pages, which is the Stage UG on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. So right now we're about to dive into the gist of today's matter. We are going to discuss some of the challenges that exist among young people. And so I would like to call that each and every one of us adds their voice to this discussion as we dive into some of the things that we can do as young people to improve sexual reproductive health for young people in the country. We're going to have a fireside chat that is discussing young people's realities and challenges of SRHR in Uganda. And I think just to begin that discussion, I have an idea of who is in the room. And so I'm going to just curate that discussion and ensure that every different department is taken care of. Every different category is taken care of young people so we can have inclusion in the final decisions that we are going to make. To begin with, I would like to ask to find out where Mr. Ibrahim Batambuze is. Is he in the room? Okay, I will call on Humphrey. Great. We're not going to have a panel per se. I will call on you to respond from wherever it is that you are seated. I will wait for you to take your seat and then I can pose a question. As the discussion is going on, and to the online people, please feel free to also pose your question. So Humphrey, we've had a lot of discussion around the importance of inclusion. We talked about inclusion with people with disabilities. We've talked about inclusion for all ages. And now we also want to ensure that inclusion for young people in humanitarian settings is also accounted for. Can you please have a microphone? Thank you. So Humphrey, we know that your organization, which you will tell us shortly, has been working quite actively with young people in humanitarian settings, and there are various challenges that they face. Could you speak to some of these challenges that you have found on ground? And then what are some intervention gaps? And then how is it that we can strengthen SRHR? Mine's off as well.
Check microphone.
Yeah, just give him your.
Hello?
No, mine's off as well. Just take for him.
Hello?
Shout.
me shout as we are waiting. Good afternoon, everyone. Not yet. Online audience as well.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry to hijack the moderator's podium. My name is Humphrey Naimanya. I work with Srhr Uganda. And today it poses a very unique question about the challenges that we face and also different young people that are really facing. So I'm going to go through very fast on challenges, but also the gaps that I feel we should really be addressing when we get a platform like this one. Some of the challenges, of course, I thank the Vice Chairperson of the National Youth Council, who has really elaborated on most of the challenges that young people are really facing in our different communities. But also has reached a hand looking at the challenges of our limited youth-friendly services and spaces. That also is still a biggest challenge in our country. We are looking at a culture of restrictions of young people to access information, which we are still advocating for, and also thanks to the aligned ministries, Ministry of Gender, headed by our father and Papa Mondo, the Commissioner, and Minister of Education, Minister of Health, that have done a great job in trying and advocating for such spaces where young people can really access information. And of course, the different CSOs that have done a great job. Limited health services overall is one of the biggest challenge, and also we are happy Minister of Health and Mr. Mond as well hinted on the National Health Insurance Scheme, whereby if it's introduced, we know that every young person, every person in Uganda will be having access to health care in whatever way, in whatever means possible. Other challenges, we're looking at mixed culture and traditions. Uganda is a very beautiful country with so many cultures, but also so many differences in how we behave, how we act, how we live with one another. And that has really been a biggest challenge. And also at Srhr, we have tried as much as possible to train peer educators who may confront some of these cultures in their own sensitivity, and also looking at us uprooting from the grassroots level, training young people from the grassroots level who can speak the language that several young people really understand in their different spaces. The moving population who feel migrate, we are having a lot of migrators from Kasese, from Ajumani, from Karamoja coming in one space, or even we are now having a lot of people moving from the west to the northern Uganda. We're also looking at the refugees from southern Sudan to Uganda. All these kind of challenges, they come with different spaces that also create more challenges that really hinder the Srhr services in the different localities. Most of the challenges also we're looking at menstrual hygiene, menstrual health management as a key factor for young people's Srhr that is largely altered by many programs. So many programs at the end of the day, they're quite trying to focus on specific areas, but also leaving other areas like menstrual health management, which we should really be looking at. Some of the challenges as well we are facing in the humanitarian sector, inconsistent funding for Srhr programming. I know most of the CSOs, we have kind of had some of these challenges.
We will have more discussion throughout the day where we will pull you in. Humphrey noted one gap that was on skilling, and I know there is a youth organization here whose focus really is on skilling. Benjamin, if I could pull you in. Can I please ask that a mic just runs around? So Benjamin is over there. And as the mic gets to you, we're looking at the issue of schools being closed. There's a lot of gaps in skilling, like Humphrey had mentioned, and young people all over the country faced education retrograde as well as stallment. We are definitely likely to see high numbers of school dropouts when schools reopen due to various reasons. What are some key recommendations with your experience working in education, in skilling, in livelihoods? What are some recommendations that you can make in order for us to improve and innovate around education for young people, in order for us not to miss out on this key protection factor of girls and boys being in school? Over to you, Benjamin. Please tell us who you are and your organization.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Benjamin Rukwenje, and I work with Boundless Minds, which prepares young people for the world of work through skilling that focuses on 21st century skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and the like. The question on what, on thinking about education after the pandemic or during the pandemic is interesting, because I think the first thing you understand just looking at our schools is that we always thought of our schools only for their transformative value, that people went into schools to acquire knowledge and skills that would prepare them for work. But in fact, it's until after the pandemic hit that we realized that schools were also safety net, especially for girls, protecting them from all the evils that they would have faced back in their communities. And you can see from the number of reported teenage pregnancies over the last 2 years, and how that has played out when schools are closed. So I don't know, it's probably going to take 2 to 3 years for us to count the cost of what has happened in terms of how many children are not going to return to school, and but also how many girls are not returning to school because they got pregnant while they were away, and we have not created enabling environments for them to continue their learning. So in terms of just thinking about the challenges, obviously you realize that because education is an enabler for quality of life, right? So there's going to be a definite drop in the quality of life, especially for people who have dropped out of the school system. There will also be inevitably effect or impact on the quality of talent and skill available, because the assumption is that those that have dropped out of school will not get the required skills and knowledge and networks to enhance their ability to create proper livelihood for themselves. And that also leads to, socio-economic evils and crimes that all of us know about that are a result of interruption to education. So we've got to reimagine education and learning both for people who are in school, but also for people who are out of school and will likely not return to school. And I think for me the questions that come to mind is, when children drop out of school, what happens to them, right? For years now, the completion rate, the dropout rate at primary school level has been 70%, right? that of every 10 children that enroll in primary school, only 3 get to P7, right? And we also know that of the 7, the bulk are girls. The bigger number of the 7 are girls. So what happens to them? That's the first question we need to answer, especially now, post-pandemic, because we didn't have answers for it in the past, and now the pressure is even higher. But the second thing is, does learning only have to happen in a classroom? Because now we suddenly have young people that are out of school and not returning who need to continue learning. So are we acknowledging that, or that their learning has come to an end, or does it, are there ways we can think about continuing the process of learning for them outside of the classroom? And of course, that also comes down to whether learning means that you must have a degree because to complete the cycle, because that's how we have always imagined education, but that has been interrupted and disrupted by the pandemic. I can only think of one thing that would be important in getting us to cross the line, whether it's girls that have dropped out of school, or in general young people that are not going to return to school, or those that return to school and find that things have changed, is there is an opportunity and a requirement for all of us to accelerate our ability to create opportunities for them to learn. Yeah? If they were learning at 40%, that has got to move to about 80 if we are going to move this fast enough. And the one thing I can think about is what is the work that we do, and I know a lot of other people do the same, is skilling the mind, right? Preparing young people for work with the right skills that enable them to make that transition into work and make it easy. So whether it is that they're going into social justice and activism, or they are going into entrepreneurship, or they are going out to look for jobs, how are we preparing them to think differently, solve problems, learn how to manage money, learn how to negotiate, learn how to collaborate with others, learn how to use whatever knowledge it is and information that they acquire to create value for themselves and communities. And I think that there are opportunities for all of us to do that, both in schools, but also in communities where all of us exist.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Benjamin. Alternative education, alternative opportunities for creating livelihoods, and just overall skilling the mind is extremely important. We unfortunately will not have as huge and encompassing discussion. This is very rich, and we truly want to get feedback from each and everyone. Hannah is running an online poll right now on the same link that we used in the morning. Please go ahead and use it. I just wanted to read through some of the experiences that have come in before I call in the next person. If we can, thank you. Someone shares that in how his experience, SRHR is still limited. Most of the information is through internet and dialogues organized by NGOs like RHU in Iganga. And this happened once, about 8 years ago. So it's not as consistent, and it's usually NGO-led. Someone shares that they need more experience in SRHR. Such dialogue should be brought down to higher institutions of learning. This person comes from National Teachers College in Kaliro. So they are advocating for SRHR ambassadors in institutions to bridge the SRHR gap. And I think that's a very key recommendation that I hope organizations in those districts can take up, and the government as well, who oversees all of this. Lastly, someone says they learned about SRHR in their last year of primary school when an organization, again, Action for Children, visited the school. They were selected for training, and they've never looked back, which is quite good. But again, it goes back to the fact that most of this is NGO-led, and so we need to see how we, as, beyond as young people, like Mr. Munir had mentioned in the beginning, we as individuals support this change. Right now, I want to call Julius Geoffrey Okong from the National Union for Disabled Persons in Uganda. We can give the mic to his translator. So maximum 3 minutes, please. Julius, if you could, we've talked about what some people in the humanitarian, some challenges that people in the humanitarian settings face. We've also spoken about the need to innovate around education and skilling of the mind. So now we also want to ensure that young people with disabilities are not left out. What are some challenges that, about 3 challenges that young people with disabilities face, and how can we collectively improve these as youth leaders? 3 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. That is my sign name. I am deaf by nature of disability. I want to say something about the challenges which young people with disabilities go through. The first issue is limited accessibility to sexual and reproductive health information and service. There is still a bigger problem in this area. Where is the challenge? Most health workers do not understand sign language. So most of the information is in a printed format. Yes, we can see it in hospitals. They have words, they are written. But if you look at a young person who is deaf, who stopped probably in primary 7, or those who never attended school, and those who only know sign language, maybe they can not even write, it is hard for them to comprehend to this information. So they come to the health centers, but attending this information, getting information is hard, because now the health workers cannot sign. So that means there is a communication gap. And that is why we see many deaf children, they do not visit health centers, the youth. Probably they don't visit because they would have no sign language interpreters. So if they are to attend and have a service, then that means they would come with a sign language interpreter. Now think about the right to privacy. Some issues you would need to talk with the nurse or the doctor in person, but now you need to hire a third person, the interpreter. So the right to privacy is also intervened, and this is a challenge to which young people are facing. Also, we've tried to make an innovation or a program that we feel will solve this challenge. We've started producing videos in sexual and reproductive health. We change this information to sign language. So how do we do this? Do we spread this information? It is through WhatsApp, through YouTube, that we can reach to these young people so that they can benefit from this information in an accessible format. So where is the surprise? Some people will think sexual and reproductive health, they only know it as abstinence, then family planning. That is what they only know. So they miss a lot of information. This, from 2020, during the COVID era, now I think you remember that deaf people depend more on internet. So you know that there was increase in data, buying these data bundles. So this is an issue to deaf people. I think most deaf young people, they even have mental health challenges because of stress. Consider a situation where you have no information, you are living in a lockdown, you don't know what is happening, you don't know why you are no longer going to school, you can't get money for your livelihood. So how do you imagine such a life of these people? So how would they go and look for a job? This is a great challenge. It's a great challenge. So now, most of them are home. But the condition of homes and families, the challenge with the parents, like you will observe the brothers and sisters, they even don't have the basic sign language skills. So they are always busy on their own work. So that means at the end of it all, the deaf person will not get information even when he's at home. So now, some deaf young people, they develop work, like you will find some in prostitution. And it is alarming that this number will also increase, and they will tell you they are looking for money. At home, there is no help, and there is none to run to. So how would they live? So pregnancy is increasing, and when you find this one, they will tell you we had no food, so I can't manage living on my own. So most deaf young people, both boys and girls, depend entirely on the family. That is why the family or the home, the parents feel it as a burden. So this issue needs to be addressed by developing videos for training health workers. Most especially, we need to target the institutions of learning. Yes, because now, for example, we have a training within a Guru Teenage Center, information, and we are doing this sign language training online. We have 8 health workers. So we need to make sure that at least a deaf person who would visit such an institution would be helped and would benefit from the service.
Thank you
my recommendation. Okay, my recommendation. I recommend the Ministry of Health to train health workers in sign language. Then, or you adopt the sign language interpreters to all the health facilities. Yes, let's have programs on TVs and let's have sign language interpreters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Julius, for that. The discussion is still going on. Please utilize the menti.com. We want to hear everyone's voices right before we go into sharing our commitments.
Thank you, Winnie. So we have a new code today, this hour. It's still menti.com, but you see the code up there. It is 70616511. And we have some experiences shared, but we are going to go into jointly picking our brains on what we can actually do to jointly advance this agenda, and what we can do to work meaningfully together as youth leaders. So I want you to all take up your phones again and contribute to this so we can have this as a starting point for our joint commitments that we're going to take in just a minute. So please put in the code and we'll be up here picking your examples.
Okay, while we wait for you to please pick up the code is 70616511. 70616511. So please, we want all your voices to come out as we discuss that. Like Mr. Mondo said in the morning, the beauty of coordination is we are each able to self-identify in the different fields that we work in and able to retain our name and our strength in the field we work in. So please, what is it in your field do you think we need to do to work meaningfully together as youth leaders to advance SRHR for youth? So I'll wait for you to get onto the phones. We can take a couple of people in the room. Please shoot up your hand, talk about your organization and what it does and what you think we can do to work meaningfully together. Yes, Myra. We have two gentlemen that side. It's unfortunate, I feel like there's been more gentlemen speaking, so a lady. Bernard, sorry. Your gender is not helping you. I want more ladies. Okay, yes, Myra.
Thank you so much, Winnie. I don't know if I'm clear.
Yes.
My name is Faith Myra, and I work as the Youth Country Coordinator of the Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights Alliance, Uganda. And I've been enjoying the discussion to just, it is very humbling to see as many youth as myself and young people pushing for the same agenda of advancing sexual reproductive health, because indeed it's a big problem. And as much has been discussed and all the issues, I just want to go right ahead to what do we need to do? What do we need to do different? I think for me, first of all, we need to get practical on exactly what is meaningful youth participation in this sense, in this context. Because when we speak about engaging young people, we are engaging them, and I love the fact that we are progressive in our engagement. And I think for us to fully implement the meaningful youth participation process map, we need to, yes, we have identified the young people who are champions. We need to equip them with knowledge and skills, because we have to make evidence-based advocacy. But for these young people to speak for themselves, they have to be aware of what actually, beyond their context, their village, their family, what is it there out there that they need to understand. And then we need to build their capacity in a way. But even when we do all of this, we give them knowledge, we build their capacity, until government, until other stakeholders, civil society are valuing the contribution of the young person in this context, we might be really working back and forth in a way. So we have moved from a space of where there was no young people, the places that were traditionally for adults, for seniors, and we're seeing their young people. Now the question is, how do we attach the same value of opinion to the young person's opinion, contribution to what can be done to really work on these issues similar to that of adults. And maybe lastly, is to say that we need the policy frameworks to work. We need them to move forward. It's already long overdue, and I like that we're progressive, but we need to add a little more speed to it to really see that this is working out.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Faith talks about education, impacting, building capacity of the young people, and then appreciating their value. Over to you. I'm mentioning this, so please, if this is similar to you, please don't repeat it. Please tell us your name and the organization you're from.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Joanna Atkunda. I am the founder of Uplift Slum Africa, and for me, the SRHR work I'm doing is strictly with the slum-dwelling children, young adolescents, and youths in the Kampala metropolitan. For me, my recommendation, or what I would like us to do is, as young people who are doing this work, yes, we're trying our best to be out there, but then I think we are not collaborating well enough. If we could have more platforms that bring us together, and then we are able to see, okay, what is one organization doing, what is the other doing, how can we help each other, how can we support each other, not just everyone doing what they think is supposed to be done, which is okay, but I think we need to have more interdisciplinary approaches to this work. And then secondly, I think the bigger stakeholders are failing us when it comes to the policy frameworks. They are taking longer than they should, and yet if we're saying we have fire in the house, and then it's taking us ages to have these policies put together. These frameworks, some of them they were approved in 2018, but then at the grassroots level, things are not working. The religious people, the cultural leaders are not included. It is taking us a while. Mr. Mondo from Ministry of Gender talked about the family policy. I participated in that research 2019, but up to today it's not yet out there, and we are still waiting. So why are we taking longer than we think? And we need this support as young people. If we come out and say, I am going to do SRHR in slum dwelling areas, someone says, I am at the grassroots level in my village, the other person says this, but then we are not having support from the government. They are like, things get on table and take 5 years to be approved. Where are we? And then statistics keep on increasing for teenage pregnancies, for contraceptives. So we need proper support that has to get these things working. Like, let's be in motion every single day.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll be making commitments shortly, and we hopefully, this dialogue is really us presenting problems, but then also us presenting what solutions we can take part in order for us to be agents of change. So hold the government accountable, yes, but then what can we also do as in our own capacity? I will take just 2 more. Please keep your answer brief. And once again, unfortunately, I'm not going to take an answer that has already been mentioned and emphasized. So beyond policy, beyond education, beyond capacity building, rolling down of policies to grassroots level, what other recommendations do you have? Yes, please, gentleman. Okay, lady, yes.
Wonders Truth Mugisa from Naguru Teenage Information and Health Center.
Sorry, we can barely hear you.
Wonders Truth Mugisa from Naguru Teenage Information and Health Center. So, through the National Youth Council, I believe you and FPA have scattered information and facts about how COVID has influenced or has impacted on SRHR. So my recommendation is a national survey to look at the health facts concerning SRHR in cooperation with adolescents and look upon them, then forward them to the government. Then we get a feedback at last. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for that. Brief, precise, and to the point. We have one more gentleman in yellow, gentleman in blue, lady in red. If you're able to go online and add your voice, that would be perfect. We do have a couple of recommendations that are coming in online, and we will collect all of these and share them with each and every one of you so you know that your voice has been heard and with a clear plan of action. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. I'm Claire Natkunda from Reach a Hand, Uganda. I'm a peer educator, a young person for young people. Thank you so much for this day. My first concern goes to the Ministry of Health. I really appreciate your presentation, Madam Chichoncho. But as young people with disabilities, more especially ladies, we have gaps that are really need you to come up and fix these gaps. Whereby, if I refer to Mr. Mnil's representation, the remote areas, you can just see things moving here in town or in Central or in the healthy facilities in Kampala, but things are not well in the remote areas. Whereby there are many challenges that we are going through as young persons with disabilities. Only that, there are few to pick. So there are many gaps that you really need to come up and fix them. One of them is employment, where we lack specialized personnel. You reach the healthy facility and the healthy worker has to move up and down to find a way of solving the issue, more especially like when the client is having a hearing impairment problem, or when the person is visually impaired. You find there are more problems because here it needs one-on-one, a doctor and the patient, but again you have to put the third party. So that is a big challenge when it comes to sexual reproductive healthy services and
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to have to cut you short.
Excuse me,
I am so sorry. We are a bit running late on time. because we need Olivia to also respond to the question. So if you can just allow her to respond so we can move on to the next session, please.
Something small.
You will find her at lunch. I persist, please. I insist. Let's let Olivia respond in 2 minutes, please, and then we will move on to the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I want to respond to the issue of policies taking long. At the beginning, I told you that as a ministry, our role is to prepare the guidelines and the policy text, and that we
for more work to be done and for more visibility at the health facility as far as inclusiveness goes. So we're going to move into the next session. There's papers that have been going round. Like I mentioned earlier, we are here to share our commitments as agents of change. What is it that I, Winnie, in my capacity, in my organization, are going to do? Just a minute. Yes, so please ensure that you are as participatory as possible, even for the community online. So we are going to find a way to sort of wake up your mental spaces for you to think about what it is that you feel, because we're going to hold you accountable to these commitments that you have made. Well, we shall share what duration this will take, but we want you to actually take this as a promise to yourself and to the people that you serve. Before we dive into that, entertainment team, are we ready for our ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, I would like to call upon a couple of leaders, Humphrey Rahu, Benjamin, Boundless Minds, Ruth, Naguru Teenage Center. Joshua, are you here? If Joshua is here, please as well. Please go to the back where the commitment board is. I would also like to call Julius Nudipu, Zaga as well. Yeah, I think we have ample representation. Do we have any other? Yes, I'm so sorry. Young lady who's the executive director for Slum Africa, if you could also go to the back. MOH, Mr. Mondo, if it's okay with you as well. Or we can take you at the end. We're just going to sign our commitments on that board as leaders of our different organizations. We will be joined by Azawi in signing that commitment. I don't know if she's in the house yet. As the executive directors and youth leaders are signing, we also know and acknowledge that you are leaders in your own right. So please write your commitments on the paper that has been shared. Just as you're setting goals, please write realistic commitments that we are going to be able to hold you accountable to. Okay. Okay, we are having a signing session. Each and every one of us should be on our tables writing the commitment that we are making. Azawi is in the building, I can finally confirm, and she's also signing her commitment on the commitment board. We will have an opportunity. I'm so sorry. Very, very importantly, Vice Chair for National Youth Council, please join the group. My deepest apologies for not acknowledging you. Please go ahead and sign with the rest of the leaders. We will have a photo moment. Whoever needs to take a photo, a group photo with Azawi, we will do that after the signing, so please go ahead and sign. Johnson, I don't know if we can have some verbal commitments shared. Where is Johnson? If we can have some people in the room sharing their commitments. Who would like to share their commitment with us? Anyone? Rio, before you leave, would you like to share your commitment with us? Anyone want to share their commitment? Please don't feel shy. This is something that you are holding yourself to. As a youth leader in this and this right, I commit to. Sorry? Yes, sirs. Johnson, at the back. Johnson, microphone. Johnson? Right there, she wants to, okay, great.
It's a he.
No, I meant the other lady as well. Yeah, please, he. Sorry.
Which lady wants to speak?
Yes, please. And then we will, yes, let her speak.
Where is she?
She's behind you. Babiria, please.
Thank you so much, Winnie. As a representative from the network of young people living with HIV, we commit to being responsible and advocating and becoming the voice to the voiceless of our fellow young people living with HIV in different communities, but also challenging every stigma and discrimination around advocating for our rights, accessing HIV and Srhr services, and as well as prevention services like condom use. As I conclude, I would like to thank UNFPA for such a space and also entrusting us with the condom programming, where we have been reaching a great number of young people with condoms and how to use them, but also having a clear explanation around the myths and misconceptions around condom use.
Thank you so much. Saz, you wanted to share your commitment? As Azawi signs and we get ready for a little entertainment.
I, Ngabo Saad, as a peer educator from Richard, Uganda, and as a youth representative on the Srhr Alliance, I commit to ensuring that young people with disability receive sexual reproductive health and rights information, and further, making sure that young people with disabilities are equally and effectively engaged in and meaningful youth participation.
For that, please feel free to get up and dance.
Oh na 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 na, eh. Hey, you love it, oh my, come on. Ania salama like oh no, oh mwana, antu salaba mubu fo. Hey, romance yeah, bafulanco bafulanco, I sing a comano ba anglophone. Yeah, labuye mame babula, labuye mame chamula. Sikulimba ya wangula, silimba ya wangula. Labuye mame babula, labuye mame chamula. Sikulimba ya wangula, you can sing with me. 1, 2, 3. Nakupenda. One more time, say. Chibuliera na lofiti. Na lofiti. Zenkwagala mu lofiti. Mu lofiti. And I know that you love it. One more time. Wait. You're my today and you're my tomorrows. When song arachinze bantonda. Yegwenze mama kwe yangamba. This kind of love is a win for the lotto. On sika mubiroto. Teriari twala chifocho. Labu yenze ya nyambula. Labu yenze ya mfungula. Sikulimba ya wangula. Silimba. Oh na. Labu yenze ya nyambula. Labu yenze ya sikulimba ya wangula. Silimba. Oh na. What's up? How is everyone doing? We can stand up and dance together. King Minos and Queen Minos. Yeah. I want to be your mommy, yo. I want to be your Queen Mino. I want to be your mommy, yo. I want to be one. Hey. Onjaka denyo fuse chenena. Kona, zenkoti denyo no motima ne gwenyenya. Wanji. Yasobola, chiragana li mwamalala. Yasobola, yachimala. Ye muntu wange, alibanya na kunchaya. Wanji. Chiriba chinze chananga. Nga chichicha nonya. I want to be your Wanji. I want to be your mommy, yo. I want to be your Queen Mino. Matwale gange gwe. Hey, darling, gwajibuga, yeah. Ti matwale gange gwagafuga, yeah. Hey, darling, gwajibuga, yeah. Come on. Yes, it is our year, right? It is my it is yeah? See, yeah. Oh, see, if you having a desire, this year might be your year. You see, I wanted to inspire you to do what you aspire. Wait, your desire. Come on, yeah. Somebody gonna marry this year. Make the money happen this year. Let me tell you something about this year. Hey, it's a year. You know this is a year. It's a 1, 2, 3. Come on, 1 G. Hey, G automatic, it's in my year. And this is in my year. My year. Hey, it's in my year. G automatic, it's in my year. I'm winning this year. Wait, my year.